What's for dinner? What am I eating? Oh my gosh, I'm hungry. We got food at home. Because there's nothing worse than going out to eat and you like, I could have made this at home. Let's prep some food now. I'm making a mess over here. Hi y'all, welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. I'm Jordan Ray. Wanted to give you the little tea on meal planning, how to make it easier, how to avoid overwhelm, lessen your stress around what you're gonna eat for dinner tonight, or lunch or breakfast, which are the two things we're actually gonna focus on today, lunch and breakfast, planning ahead. I see so many people like, why do I have to plan my meals every single day? Or like every time I turn around, I'm having to figure out what I'm gonna eat. So I'm gonna share just some of the things that I do to help me plan in advance, several days at a time, planned for. Meal prepping and meal planning are separate things, but how do I get several days in a row planned for? And then a little bit of how I prep for them. I'm gonna actually prep lunch today and a little bit of breakfast. Anyways, let's just, do what we do and talk about this, all right? I think it is pretty standard that we're all pressed for time, even if we're not, like the hustle and bustle, like on a grind type of approach to life. We still have just things to do, even if that's rest, even if that's enjoy time with like our loved ones, enjoy time with ourselves, right? Like self-care. So how do we save time? I look at my calendar for the week every single week. I try to meal plan on Fridays where I'm looking at the next week. What appointments do I have? Where do I have to be? Do I have any in real life meetings? Do I have any out of office commitments? Because I do work from home. So that is an advantage for sure, but I want to let you know that I'm always thinking through ways, and I'm actually working with some of my first clients that do not work from home, and they are figuring out their meal plans and their nutrition while they're on the go. They might be a flight attendant, they might own their own business, they may work in, management at a big corporation, and it's like, how am I going to figure all of this out depending on my schedule? Also depending on if I have kids or not. So I totally understand, but take a look at your calendar. Think about when are the days that you can eat breakfast at the crib? When are the days that you might have to eat breakfast on the go, low key in the car, even though that's not ideal, or when you get to the office? Think about the days that you may need to even skip breakfast and fast through lunch, but how can I do that and still sustain my energy and still sustain my nutrition? Like those are all of the things. So look at the calendar, plug in where you're going to eat and what you're going to eat. So if you're going to eat at home, are you going to cook and have something prepared in advance? Are you just going to heat up leftovers from the night before? As you're looking at your calendar, I feel like you can start to see and visualize literally where you're going to be and what you're going to eat. So if I'm going to be at home, I'm going to eat this. If I'm going to be on the go, say you have a meeting somewhere around town and you're like, well, there's a kava nearby, so I know I can stop by and just pick up something to go. It'll save me time. I can plan this in advance so I know when and where and what I'm going to eat. Also, to save time and start to think about how to repeat items, like say there's items every single week that you always get. This is your produce, like grapes, apples, bananas, maybe even your pantry items. Like you always have a pasta night, you always need some tomato sauce, you always need some extra whatever, spice or seasoning, or a little bit of like teriyaki sauce for a glaze. I don't know. Your staple items that you need every week, because you're like, I tend to repeat 2 or 3 things throughout the week, which I do. I get hooked on something and I just like cook it once a week until I'm sick of it. Consider shopping online for your groceries, and you can pick them up or you can have them delivered. Again, we want to save time. We want to limit overwhelm. We want to reduce our anxiety around grocery shopping and meal planning and meal prepping. These are all like separate tasks. You know what I'm saying? So how can we just organize that a little bit so it's not so crazy? I would add items to your Amazon cart. I do Whole Foods primarily, but you could do Instacart, whatever is your preference, depending on the grocery store that you shop at and that you prefer. They probably have some sort of delivery service or the ability to package your groceries, and then you can pick them up on your way home from work or your way to pick up the kids from school or just in between meetings, like whatever your life looks like, okay? It's about building this around your lifestyle, and sometimes you gotta get really creative, but if you sit down and just spend some extra time up front and use your resources, I think you'll really be surprised at how much time that it saves you. So I'm like, okay, I need to get these items from the produce section every week. I know that I'm going to probably, maybe every other week, re-up on bottled water, certain things like that, like flour. I'm gonna get milk every week. Understand what those items look like for you. You might need to write them down, put them in a digital note. When you add them to your cart, this is in regards to Whole Foods and Amazon in particular. But the next week, when you go back to restock on some of those weekly items, you'll have your recent items because it keeps tabs on all of the orders that you place, and you can just re-add them to your cart. You don't have to search for them again. You do not have to, click around or anything. You just go to your recent items. It's at the top of the screen on Whole Foods and add back to your cart whatever it is that you get on the regular. So that also saves me like a ton of time. Where do you get the inspiration for meals? So say, you're going to be home a lot. For instance, this week in New Orleans is like super cold. So everybody is, hitting up the grocery store, getting their chilies and their soups and whatnot. And you're like, I know I'm going to be home a lot this week, but I want some inspiration. I don't want to eat the same thing every day. You could essentially approach it in these 3 ways. I may go to delish.com to get recipe inspiration, but anytime I'm looking for like a quick, easy dinner night for 2 or something that I haven't tried before or something seasonal, I like to always hit them up maybe once or twice a month to just get some fresh ideas. They also send I think it's like maybe a quarterly magazine, and they have these really, really dope recipes in them, things that are very complex to things that are very simple. So depending on what your cooking level is, I think Delish is a great place to get some professional inspiration. It keeps me like on my toes. The other thing that I do is occasionally, I'm not like super rigid with this, but I'll cycle sync. So I'll know around the week of my cycle, maybe I want to have some spaghetti and do a little bit more of like a red meat heavy diet because I am animal based. So that's an option for me. And so around my cycle, maybe I'm upping my greens a little bit more. I want to do a little bit more salads, like maybe the week before my cycle, and then during my cycle it's a little bit more heavy on like the red meat. Definitely want to make sure that I have chocolate. Let's make it super easy on us, okay? Because that week is already like super crazy. Last but not least, when I am seeking inspiration and I do not know what I want to eat and I'm like, I just can't decide, because sometimes we have our decision fatigue that kicks in as well, and it's like, if I have to make one more decision today, I'm going to lose it. And sometimes food is like the hardest thing to figure out what you want to eat on, because you're making all these other decisions throughout the day. What do you want for dinner? Oh, whatever. And then it's like, no, it's not whatever, because maybe you're actually craving something. So I use my cravings as well to lend me inspiration. I think about something that I've been wanting recently. I try to settle my mind for just a few seconds. Like, what would I go out to eat tonight or this weekend? So say you're coming up on the weekend. You may want to save a little bit of money. You don't really want to go out. You're cool with cooking. Like, you have the time and the bandwidth to cook. Okay, I'm not trying to force nobody that don't have no time on what to cook to be cooking. But if you do, it's maybe like, oh, I've been craving some Chinese takeout, or I've been craving some falafel, and use that as an opportunity to make a new recipe or bring something back that you haven't cooked in a while. But not always be dependent on going out, because there's nothing worse than going out to eat and you paid all this money for this meal and you like, I could have made this at home and controlled however much salt or whatever I put in it, and just, we got food at home. And actually, like, the very last thing that I would share with you is to imagine cooking like multiple meals at once. Not necessarily meal prepping, because I feel like a lot of us are like, we're funny about our food. Like, we want our food fresh. We don't want to be eating 3-4 day old food. I think that that's wild. But say your Monday mornings are slow, or like your Tuesday mornings are slow or something. You could essentially cook your food for that entire day. That way you get it all done in the morning and it's like out the way. And that way throughout the day, you're just heating stuff up, or maybe just throwing it in the air fryer real quick. It's pretty much prepped, or it's cut, it's washed, so on and so forth. I'm sure you've probably heard all these tricks before, but I personally always try to make sure I know what my next meal is before I'm cooking or I'm eating my current meal. Okay, hopefully some of that was helpful. Let's prep some food now. We'll just cube up a sweet potato. I have my seasonings, and we'll pop that in the air fryer with some olive oil. Yeah. All right, this will go into the air fryer for maybe like 20 minutes. Nothing too crazy. It's Sweet potatoes are so, I don't really know if they're underrated, but they're so versatile. I feel like they can go with a lot of things. It's so easy to make, and there's several different ways to make them. They really might be the MVP. Now I'm going to season a little bit of ground turkey. I have 85% lean, 15% fat. I don't really pay too much attention to that, honestly, from a macro standpoint, because I feel like I'm not necessarily on a low fat diet. I don't think a lot of people maybe should be on a low fat diet if it's good, healthy fats. Anyways, you ain't really asked for all that. And I realized that. With our seasonings, we're gonna do the same that we did on the sweet potatoes. And I'm just now realizing that I didn't put any salt and pepper on the sweet potatoes. I usually don't do that, but I forgot because I guess the recording, whatever. We'll do the same, and I'm gonna add a little bit of mustard seed and basil. But we're going to do some salt and pepper first. I'm not gonna forget on the turkey. And I like chili powder over paprika. I'm not even gonna hold you. Something about paprika. I mean, I do it when I have to, but I don't really like it. Oh, this is the mustard seed. I'm gonna go ahead and heat my skillet up, and then we'll mix this up, and then I'll do a little bit more of all the seasonings because I just have it like on the top right now. That's all done. So we're gonna store in these glass containers. I got these from Target. Sweet potatoes came out real nice. In this third bowl, we're going to have our lunch in here. So I'm gonna show you what it looks like in just a second. Got a little romaine that we'll chop up for the burger bowl. We'll put that in there. Gonna make us like basically a little salad, but we're gonna call it a burger bowl. Here go the rest of our sweet potatoes. And this is like the prime example of when I shared, when you have to make one meal, go ahead and make your next meal so you have extra. So this is gonna make us about 3 servings. Possible that you could stretch that to 4, totally. We'll top with a little bit of red onion. Gotta have some pickles. About 3 is perfect. And of course, some unsweetened ketchup. I would have done like a little dairy-free mayo aioli, but it did not come in the groceries this week. So next time. Because ketchup honestly isn't like my favorite condiment in the world. But I'll make it work. Let's garnish with a little sesame. And lunch is served. All right, let me give you the taste test real quick because that's what we do. I haven't done this with turkey. A couple weeks ago, I did it with ground beef. Really so good. So I'm gonna get a little bit of everything on my fork. Get a little bit more turkey. I really honestly thought that I would like the ground beef one more, but this one, it's giving what it needs to give, you know, it's giving turkey burger. I love too how colorful this is. Makes me feel like I'm getting all of my, you know, polyphenols and just antioxidants and all of these good things in my system. But now let's get to these waffles real quick because, you know, this is about time saving. So I'm trying to knock this out and let us all move about our days. Now let's pull together these waffles, protein waffles. Okay, I have my waffle maker set up. My ingredients are out. We'll pull together our dry ingredients, more dry ingredients with our wet ingredients. I like to start with the dry. I'm going to, because I don't want to cook like usually, I don't want to cook too many pancakes or waffles at a time. I have my recipe down for just one serving, but we're going to multiply that by 3 today because I want to do 3 waffles, not 6, 3. And I'm just going to scoop this 3 times for some of these items instead of just multiplying. I don't know, I should get my calculator out, actually, just multiply it. My little mixing bowls came from Bamboozle in their fresh guac colorway. So cute. Okay, our vanilla protein. I'm gonna do 3 scoops of this bad boy. This will amount to about 10 grams of protein in each waffle. We're gonna go with a little date sugar. Sometimes I use coconut. But today we doing date. I'm gonna do about 1 teaspoon, 1/4 and 1/8. And then for the cream of tartar, I'll do 1/2 teaspoon. Let's get some cinnamon in here. And you know what? I almost forgot a little salt. All right, let's do 3 eggs. I'm gonna start with 1.5 cups of almond milk. If we need to add more, we can always do that. Dash of vanilla. All right, we'll pour the wet into the dry. Give this a little whisk. And there's always a chance that, you know, I may want to add a little bit more flour, but I actually think we're going to be fine. And we'll let this sit for about 5 minutes, especially while the pancake griddle warms up. This will thicken too, so that's why I don't want to add too much flour or any more flour. This also looks like it's going to make more than 3, which is fine. I'd rather have a little too much than not enough. All right, that's ready to go. We'll spray it down. Just a little. This actually might cook really fast because I had it higher than I wanted it to go, but we'll see. Right, we should be done. Ooh, I cooked it a little too fast for what I would prefer, but that's okay. All right, waffle number 2. Look, I'm making a mess over here. All right, so that's waffle number 3. You know what this didn't come with was, I don't know, the little fork thingy to get this out. Right, so this ended up giving us 6 waffles. It's so cute the way I'm putting them in there, like little tacos. Just want to store them nicely. Yeah, I'll let them cool off for a little bit and we'll store them in the refrigerator. All right, that's it for our meal planning, a little bit of meal prep situation. Let me know if you found anything helpful, if any of this inspires you to maybe start to meal prep. I would also share with you, have grace on yourself because it is not going to happen overnight. So even if you start with just meal prepping for 1 week out of the month, I think that that's a good way to build a habit. Or if you are thinking about, I'm just going to meal prep for like 2 or 3 days a week, just so like on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, you don't have to think about what's for dinner, what am I eating? Oh my gosh, I'm hungry. I'm gonna make a bad decision and then like go buy Chick-fil-A. And then my stomach's hurting. And then I don't know why, because then I have to go somewhere else. And then it's like I had a coffee and it's like I drank that on an empty stomach. Let's get a handle on it. Let's be in control of that and don't let it control us. Anyways, I appreciate you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you liked this video, if you're still here, please do one of the 3, if not all 3, and I'll see you next week.